live in the Gun Hill, from Freeman Street to Prospect Avenue, Fordham Road, Co-op City to Elder Avenue, Valley Park, Eaton Wall to Bronx River, Bronx Deal, Soundview, S-Bar, baby. I'm boogie down like this Choke King, man. We go within the playground.
Hey, everybody.
That's how it go down.
It's time for the Bronx Music Podcast. Welcome. It is really a pleasure because our guest on this program and I have some stuff in common, even though we're kind of like from different generations. It is DJ Whutever, W-H-U-T, as we say it in the Bronx, whatever. And he is my buddy Cornell Yarborough. Nice to see you, man.
My guy, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. I am real excited about having him here because he does a lot of stuff. I'm going to read this right off your website. Okay, here we go. So people will know who you are. You are the official DJ for the iHeart Music Festival in Las Vegas, and you are the DJ for Major League Baseball's New York Mets. You might have heard of them. You might have seen them when you're at the ballpark. He is one of the most sought-after DJs across the United States. You can find him hosting his on-air weekly shows on iHeart Radio in New York and Boston, while also spinning at some of the biggest parties and festivals around the country. Yay.
That was smooth, man.
Well, this is what I do for a living. You do what you do for a living, and this is what I do for a living.
Listen, we know you legendary, man. I saw you get your name put on a street in the Bronx.
Yeah,
one day I hope to be there.
You keep going. You will be.
Thank you.
I told my wife I'm a little tired of Gary Axelbank at this point, but what can you do? Listen, the first thing that binds us is the Boogie Down Bronx.
Yes.
You grew up in the Bronx.
Yes.
You love the Bronx. It's in your blood. Just a little background about you growing up. Where'd you grow up, and what about the Bronx still feeds you?
Oh, man, listen, still where I'm at now, 165th in the Grand Concourse, born and raised.
That's right, man. Where my sign is.
Yes, 165th in the Grand Concourse, man, born and raised. And, the Bronx is just in me, man. It inspired me from young. Growing up, you know the Bronx even better than me, man. Growing up in the Bronx, hearing the music, right? Hearing the culture, seeing the graffiti.
At what age?
I mean, man, from the time I was like 4 years old.
4 years old?
Yeah, of course, my mother was playing music in the house all day long.
What kind of music? From
Luther Vandross to soca, calypso. All my mother's side of the family is from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, which I just came back from. So, it was like the culture was just around me, man. And then when you go outside, on whether it's on the concourse or different areas, it was nothing but culture, man, nothing but music, nothing but, good vibes.
Did you ever want to pick up a musical instrument? I mean, we'll talk about his instruments now, but did you ever pick up a guitar or drums or
No,
something?
not
Never
really.
Did.
Not really. I mean, my dad played the flute when I was smaller. So, I just used to love listening to the music. I used to love listening to it, but I never picked up an actual instrument. We used to have a piano in my house as a kid, too, so I played around with it a little bit, but never got serious.
Where'd you go to high school?
What'd you say?
Where'd you go to high school?
Oh, Cardinal Hayes.
Went to Hayes, right
Yes,
up the concourse.
Cardinal Hayes High School, yes.
And at what point did the sound of hip-hop or the changing sound of the Bronx come up? Like, at what point did you say, oh, that's the thing that's calling me?
Man, I think when I realized it was actually calling me, I think I was in high school. Like, I knew I loved the music, right? I knew I was inspired by it. I know growing up as a kid, hearing records like Self-Destruction, Flavor Flav lived in my building on the concourse as a kid. So, I was inspired early, but I think it wasn't until high school time that I was like, yeah, this is for me.
I mean, we can go through what years, but had hip-hop hit at that point, or did you kind of get into it and then all of a sudden this incredible sound really took off in the Bronx?
Oh, to me it was hitting, man.
To
me it was hitting. Growing up in the late 80s and all of that, man, it was hitting. It was everywhere. It felt amazing.
So here we go. I interviewed DJ Kool Herc.
Oh, legend.
I asked him about, do you remember the moment that you realized you had like invented something that hadn't been heard before. So here's what he said. I could see the breakdown in the record. I could hear the band. And you'll appreciate this as a DJ. You'll appreciate this because this was numero uno, the first one. The drummer going to get some, the guitar going to get some, or they're going to do a little solo drift. So I used to watch this and wait for those parts of the record to come up. And I said, oh, I wonder if I put all those records back to back and put all those pieces back to front. And then I called it the merry-go-round, and that's how he did it.
Wow, man.
So there you go.
Kool Herc's such a legend, man. Salute to him.
So what I'm going to do is now go through a little bit of history and then bring it up to you. I interviewed Curtis Blow once.
Another legend.
Many, many years ago, when I was still chasing down the rock and roll thing, I went to a concert for The Clash on the pier that's right next to the Intrepid. And the opening act was Curtis Blow.
Wow.
And I, white Jewish boy from the North Bronx, had never seen anything like it. And I looked it up. It was September 2nd, 1982, so we could do the math.
Yeah.
And we were there, and this was the opening act. We came to see the punk rock band, The Clash, and there was Curtis Blow, you know, doing his thing with records. Now, I want to tell you, recently I told some of my students who are about your age, maybe a little younger in their 20s, and I told them I was a radio DJ. And they wanted to know, well, what did you do? So I was at a rock station, so I would take a record off the shelf and put it on and look for the third track on an album and say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, here's the Rolling Stones, and play it. And then on the other turntable, I would take another record, whatever it was, and put it down and put the needle on the right track and play it. When I saw Curtis Blow, and this is where, now I'm going to give it to you after this. When I saw Curtis Blow and he was doing, going back, I said, wait a minute, he's queuing up the records like we queued up the records. And to me, that was the moment that I said, wait a minute, there is something new going on here. Now, my friend DJ Whutever, pick it up. When did you, at what point did you say, this is a way to do it? Did you use vinyl or have
you man.
Did?
Yeah, like I said, I still have a lot of vinyl in the house, man. I was lucky to be a part of that last era that got to learn spinning on records. You know what I mean? Spinning on vinyl and using the turntables. I used to take I used to take the bus up to Fordham Road, spend every extra dollar that I had on records.
In Alexander's or after that?
No. After that. After that. I forgot the name.
I know, I'm showing my age.
It was a spot on Fordham Road next to Dr. J's. Somebody, please, they have to send us the name of it.
Wow.
But, which one?
Cousins? See, I know those ones. She said cousin or music makers.
Maybe that was it. It was right next to Dr. J's, right? And you had to walk downstairs, and it had nothing but vinyl, man.
And you bought records there.
Yeah. Yep.
What did you buy?
Oh, everything, man. I think my first record was a DMX record. It was a DMX record that I had, and I think a Biggie Smalls.
And did you have material? Like, did you have turntables?
You know what ended up happening was I asked my mother to buy me a pair of turntables, and she did, and that was all she wrote, man. I had they were belt drive turntables, so it was a little tough to scratch. You know, you had to put the nickels or the quarters on the actual needle to give it a little extra weight, and that was all she wrote, man. Nobody taught me how to DJ. I just locked in my bedroom, and my mother let me make tons of noise, and I just learned, and I fell in love with the craft.
I understand the notion of belt drive turntables and why that would have been difficult, because not like what you could do now, because now, of course, if they're turntables, they'll spin freely.
Exactly. You had that belt around it. It's tough.
Did you play clubs, or did you do anything out? And about how old were you?
Yeah, I played clubs, but that wasn't until I probably was DJing for a good
I just want to mention that phone. We're at the Artist on City Island, and somebody's calling the house, but that's what that is. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but no, that was the era, man, when you had to take time to collect your vinyl to be able to ever spin in a club, right? Records weren't the type of things you're not going to borrow somebody's records.
Right.
You get what I mean?
Especially if you're doing this to them, because
exactly,
they won't be the same.
So it takes, I miss that era because not everybody can just jump in. Now you get a computer, you could say I'm a DJ the next day. Back then, you had to actually get your vinyl and collect it, spend money and own your craft before you actually able to jump into an event.
And if you went to a gig, you had to carry all those records and make sure you have what you need, because if they asked for something and you said, I got it at home, you're not doing your job.
Yeah, and I'm so happy I got to experience that, man, and be able to have my friends with me carrying crates of records. It was a good time. And even carrying crates of records for some of the DJs that worked at the radio station when I was an intern, man. It was good times.
So there is a clip that you did for iHeart Radio where you were interviewed and you told some of the story that fill in some of the blanks. Elliot, do you want to run that?
My name is Cornell, aka DJ Whutever. Some people also call me Whatever It Takes. And we're at the beautiful iHeart Radio studios in New York. I'm born and raised in the South Bronx, the birthplace of hip hop. I grew up in one of those households where it was different kinds of music. So if I wasn't listening to calypso music, soul music, and in fact, Flavor Flav lived in my building as a kid. So music just influenced me like crazy because I grew up hearing it everywhere. When I was a teenager, I ended up going to a friend's house and he was DJing. I was watching him just in awe. I asked my mother to buy me a pair of turntables. She always supported me. She said, yeah. And we went to a record store in Brooklyn and we bought the turntables. And, no one taught me how to DJ. I just fell in love with the manipulating the sound and went into high school DJing, went into college DJing until a kid came in one of my radio classes at Hofstra University and said, hey, anybody wants an internship at Power 105? I'm like, yeah, of course. He gave me an email and I've been working here ever since. Feels like the only job I've ever had. Not truly taking care of myself, living that DJ life, running nonstop.
Mm-hmm. So that tells us the story. When was the first time that you played in front of people? Now, you talked about being in high school and college and playing stuff. Did you bring your turntables with you?
You know it. You know it.
You did? Listen,
I was the kid in college, man, in my dorm room making the most noise. And I would let everybody know, listen, it's gonna be a lot of music playing from this room. If you have a problem, just stop by my room and I'll lower the music. So yeah,
but the music wouldn't stop.
No, the music wouldn't stop, man. But yeah, no, my first time playing, I was at Mitchell College in New London, Connecticut, and I remember playing in the gym like for a basketball game. So it wasn't an actual party, but like I warmed the crowd up, and it was, it felt good, man.
What was the thrill? Was the thrill that you were the guy doing it, or was the thrill that you played it and saw people reacting to it?
That's what it was.
That's
man.
What the thrill
and that's still the thrill of it, right? It's being able to play music and watching you uplift people, watching you change people's moods, watching people dance, watching people be inspired. Like, that's what it's all about for me. That's where the power comes in.
And when did you realize, aside from your passion for doing it, and that's a Bronx thing, start there, but when did you realize you were pretty good at it and then ultimately could make a living, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, honestly, at first I wasn't pretty good at it. just being honest.
He's humble. That's cool.
I mean, honestly, it took time. I think I sucked at first, but with anything that you love, you keep going, you get better, you get better, you get better. So I think I really realized it could be a reality once I transferred colleges and I was at Hofstra University and I got an internship at iHeart Radio.
Through Hofstra.
Well, not through Hofstra.
Well, but you got an internship.
Yep. I got an internship while at Hofstra. I had to go through hoops and hurdles to get that, so it wasn't like Hofstra set that up for me. You know what I mean? But at that point, I got to be around legendary DJs like Cool DJ Red Alert, like DJ Cut, and I got to see guys and actually be around people who were
still using turntables.
Yes, still using turntables. So I got to be around guys who were actually making a living from it, and that's when I knew, like, okay, I can. This can actually be a reality.
You know, I was going to ask if there were role models or other people, but you just answered there were people around you, and at what I'm just waiting to hear at what point did it really explode? I mean, after college?
Yeah, it was after college. Once I started working at iHeart Radio, Power 105.1. You know, I was one of those. Yeah, I was one of those guys that I was just so hungry to be around it and learn it. So I graduated from college, came back home to the Bronx, and you know, I pretty much harassed the people at iHeart to hire me as one of those guys who driving the trucks around, handing out T-shirts, one of the promo street team guys, and you know,
just because you wanted to be around.
I just wanted to be around it. I didn't care. I was getting like $6 an hour. That didn't matter to me at that point.
There's a lot of I don't know what the word is. There's a lot of value in, number one, knowing it was an internship that got you started, and number two, wasn't about the money. It wasn't about that it's your face on in front or whatever. It was about what you had said earlier. It was about seeing people get the joy from the music.
Yes.
You know, I'm wondering what era it is. So DJing was already a thing when you got into it?
Yeah, I mean,
it was somewhat happening.
There were.
So was that 90s, early 90s?
There were a bunch of DJs out there. No, it was probably like 99,
yeah, just about 2000.
Yep.
And
it was 2000.
All right, so then I got to ask you this. You know, I am a Met fan. When did you get the gig to play at Citi Field?
Oh man, that was through my good folks at Coca-Cola. You know, I started doing some work with them, and they have the Coke Corner in Citi Field, and I connected with them. They had me come.
You reached out to them?
No, they reached out to me.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, when you're good at what you do, you know, that's how it happens, right?
So they reached out to you, and about how long when they opened the stadium? No, it had to be after that.
Yeah. It was way after that, because I've only been working with them for maybe about 4 or 5 years.
Right. And so you go. I know Friday night is DJ night.
Yeah. Sometimes I do that.
What do they tell you? Did they rehearse? Did they have you do something? You know what I mean?
Nah,
it's kind of cool. Listen, everybody knows what goes on in both our baseball stadiums, and to know that this is the guy that rocks the house. Yeah. I don't know. It's a thrill for me. I don't know about anybody.
Yeah, no, you just do your sound check, and you know they trust you to bring the vibes, and that's anywhere I go.
Do they tell you when, and is there a coordination with the house that plays the music, the walk-up music and all that?
Typically, when I'm in the when I'm in the Coke Corner and I'm spinning, it'll be before the games, like when the people are just coming in, and then in between innings, up until maybe about the 7th inning.
In those situations, you are the showman. There's, as opposed to the other times where you said, "Yeah, I do it for the music," but there, you're at Citi Field, you're on the big scoreboard and stuff.
It's nice.
Feels great, right?
It feels amazing.
And they let you go, and do they tell you, say, okay, you're going to do it before the game and then after the 4th inning or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I go before the game and then in between innings, up until about the 7th inning.
Do you love it?
Absolutely, man. Before music, I was in love with baseball. My goal was to be a Major League Baseball player. Growing up right there across the street, I know we're talking about the Mets, but growing up right there across the street from Yankee Stadium, being there at the '96 World Series when the Yankees won, my first love was baseball.
And you were there as a fan.
Yeah. Yep. I was there as a fan, man.
You know,
But I was a pretty good baseball player.
something occurs to me, especially in that context. On this stage here at the Artist, I interviewed Bobby Sanabria, the great percussionist, and I asked him about does he create rhythms in his head? He said all the time. He said wherever I am, I'm always thinking of a rhythm. And so I looked at him across the table. We were in a TV studio. I said, do you have a rhythm in your head right now? He goes, yeah, I do. So do you do the same thing?
A little bit. A little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit. Sometimes beats are just playing my head real quick.
How much of it is, create? Do you create any of the beats, or do you pick up bits off records? Like, how do you decide what to do?
Yeah, I'm starting to get into production, creating the beats. But for the most part, my love has just been playing the music, man. Just playing the music and making people dance.
We have a couple of clips. Now we can roll those clips. We had 2 clips. They're very short, but they give people an idea.
Dynasty. Told y'all. Dynasty. Told y'all. Dynasty. Rockefeller Records. You heard me? Unstoppable. Rockefeller Records. You heard me? Unstoppable. Nigga.
Now you have me want to DJ now, man.
I know if I started playing a rhythm.
Yeah, that last one is one of my favorites, man. Shout out to my guy DJ Dynamite Drew. We used to play that record all the time. That You, Me, Him, and Her, back in our dorm rooms at Hofstra, man. So
That also brings us to the changing technology. So now you're not spinning records. What are these things? They're discs. Describe what it is.
I mean, I still, at home, I still use actual turntables with the vinyl on Serato. It's just it's still regular vinyl. It's just the music's on the computer. But you're talking about like the
when you switch tracks or you repeat something.
Yeah. So it's still the same way. We're just not actually physically taking off one record and putting on another. You're just switching it on the computer.
Do you a preference? Doesn't matter. It's the beat and it's the rhythm and it's what you communicate.
Yeah, that's it. But I'm still a vinyl guy. Like I still prefer the feel of vinyl. You know what I mean? So that's why even though we using the modern day technology for the most part, I still like the feel of the records.
Have you done gigs like that? No.
What?
With vinyl?
No, it's been a
crazy.
long time, man. It might have been since 08, 09 might have been the last time when Serato came out.
So you have had the feeling in your head and your heart, of course, never leaving the Bronx in your mind. You started the DJ Academy, the DJ Whutever Academy. Why don't you? I just think that when I was reading about it and was looking at what you do, I got tears in my eyes because I believe to my heart and soul this is what the kind of thing we have to have our kids do.
Wow.
And because you've done it in the way that you do it, it's just fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Cornell, going to talk about the DJ
Thank
Academy.
you, man. But yeah, no, the academy is called the Whatever It Takes DJ Academy. And what happened was, of course, I love DJing, but I got to a certain point where I'm like, yeah, I'm making people dance. Yeah, I'm traveling all over the place. Yeah, I'm on the radio. But what's an exact way that I can give back, right? And I can inspire. So what happened with me was when I was in school, of course, in the Bronx, I feel like I didn't have the best grades, right? I wasn't too, but
I forgot to ask you that. So you were not a great student.
Nah, I was a C student, right?
Whatever.
Yeah, I was a C student. But you know what it was is I just wasn't too interested in what I was being taught. So it wasn't until I found DJing that I kind of feel like I found my true purpose. So my thing is, at the end of the day, I wanted to find a way to inspire and just expose our youth, and also I work with a lot of individuals with disabilities. So shout out to the ADAPT agency that I work with. I just wanted to inspire and show people through music the different things that you can be.
I'm going to read it right off the website. The Whatever It Takes DJ Academy was founded by Cornell Yarborough in 2017, so we're 8 years into it, as an innovative education program that partners with community schools and organizations to create a high-quality learning experience for youth and individuals with disabilities.
Yes.
The DJ Academy and Workshop purposefully pushes the integration of literacy and science, technology, engineering, and mathematics into creative content that exposes students to a unique form of learning, communication, and improvisation. So what schools do you go to? How does it work? How does it look? Tell us all about it. I just think it's just so exciting and so important.
Thank you. We've been in a bunch of schools across New York, of course. My goal, and we've been in a lot of schools in the Bronx, so my goal is to be in almost every school in the Bronx. And we go. Oh, you were going to say
I was going to say, you got a few more to go. No matter how many you've been to, there's more, but keep going.
Exactly. We go into the classroom, man, with the turntables, and we have fun. DJing and education is beautiful because it's like, how if you have kids, how you got to go through a process to try to give them the vegetables. You know what I mean? They don't want to. They don't want to eat the vegetables, right?
Eat the good stuff.
Yeah. So DJing at the end of the day, man, is all science, math, technology.
And how explain? Give me the class, okay? Explain how you turn that into math and science and technology.
I mean, so math, the speed of the record alone, that's BPMs. Right?
Yes. Beats per minute.
Exactly. Beats per minute. So you know how to work turntables. You want the beat to go faster. You do certain things. You want the beat to go slower. You use the tempo, right? And it's a way to teach and inspire kids through one of the number one things that they love, which is all music.
And do you go in like one session, or you go back a couple of times? And
Yeah. We have different different formats. But yeah, typically it'll be something where we in schools maybe 2 times a week, 3 times a week.
I'm just trying to visualize it. So you bring your equipment there.
Oh yeah.
And then you let the kids come up and do it.
Yeah, we have the turn.
Wow.
Each kid already has their own set, their own turntable.
Wow. So when you go in there, they have a few of them.
Oh yeah. We have a bunch of them.
All right. There's a bunch of quotes. Don't be embarrassed.
Okay.
I enjoyed everything about the DJ Academy. My favorite lesson was learning how to mix songs and finding rhythms. I believe this experience will allow me to grow and give me the opportunity to teach others what I have learned. To me, this should be required in every school. Is it difficult to get the teachers or the principals to do this? Because, of course, they're under such pressure to get the kids to achieve on the statewide tests and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Or are they welcoming, or is it tough?
Yeah, they've been very welcoming. Once they know about it, we take a meeting and they understand right from the jump. Because, I big shout to all of the teachers and educators, because they're always looking for different ways to inspire and to help, right, and to help the kids learn. So they've definitely it's been pretty easy process to get into the schools and to work with a bunch of different organizations and agencies.
I loved learning how to use the equipment. I also enjoyed learning more about rapping and writing songs. So now here we're getting them to express themselves. Thank goodness. The biggest lesson I learned from participating in DJ Academy is that you never give up and always work together.
That's it, because that's what it's all about, man. It's not, it's not necessarily about teaching kids to become DJs, right? It's just about exploring different opportunities and ways to express yourself. That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
There are so many of these quotes, and I'm sorry, I got to read them, because these are our kids. Now, are these grade school, or these middle school? Where are these kids at?
Usually middle school,
Middle
to
school.
high school.
You know, kids have been looking at computers for 4 years during the pandemic, and these kinds of experiences are what they need.
Definitely.
I'm so happy I got to be part of the DJ Academy. I learned so many different things. My favorite lesson was learning how to mix music and switch from one song to the other. I feel like this experience will help me a lot in the future because now I know if I stick with it, I can become one of the best DJs around. You may have a little competition.
Yeah, see, and that's what I'm saying. Like there's different people, right? Some will gravitate to maybe wanting to become a DJ. A lot, maybe won't. But at the end of the day, as long as I'm inspiring them and letting them, express themselves differently and through music, man, it's a win-win.
If there are any school teachers or principals who are interested in this, what do they do?
They can contact me directly. Contact me and my team, Cornell at witdjacademy.com. So I'll say it one more time, Cornell at witdjacademy.com.
How many schools do you visit a week, a month, a year?
Oh, we're in about 30 schools
30
right now. Yeah, me and my team.
All in the Bronx? Not necessarily.
No, not all.
All over the city or all over the region?
All over the city. And then again, I work with agencies, who has people with disabilities and things of that sort. So we're doing that as well.
It just couldn't be better. I mean, I just think this is it is so important. That you do this kind of stuff. Best gig you ever had? Are they all great? Is there a moment that you said, "Wow, this is what I live for"?
That's tough, Gary. That's tough, man. The best gig ever. I don't know, man. It probably has to be
the night that
stuff.
me and my wife were dancing at Citi Field. Is that it?
Yeah, that might be it. That might be it. Or it might be stuff like the iHeart Music Festival in Las Vegas. Some of those, like the big events, man, where you have like 30,000 people.
30,000.
Right?
Well, of course, if you work in a stadium, that's how many people.
Yeah, things like that, or maybe like the Z100 Jingle Ball events that I do, and things of that sort. Like that's when you get that adrenaline, man.
Is there something that you think about doing in the future? Because really, if you're a DJ and you're playing at a Major League Baseball stadium and you've got the iHeart Festival in Las Vegas, I mean, I don't know. Is the Super Bowl only the only thing?
Yeah, the Super Bowl, the World Series, when the Mets get to the World Series, you know what I mean? Like things of that sort, man. As long as I can make people dance, though, man. Like, I really don't care if it's one person or if it's 30,000. It's making people feel good, making people move, bringing smiles to individuals' faces, man. That's what it's all about for me, Gary.
And do you spend a lot of time finding beats and then finding what mixes, or do you just kind of do it, generically, like, well, okay, maybe this will work?
I feel
is the bit rehearsed all the time?
No, it's not.
No,
it's not really rehearsed. Like, of course, for certain gigs, you might plan, right? You might plan some, but you can't. I don't understand, the whole thing of like prepping it beforehand, because when I have to look at the crowd and I have to look at the audience to decide what songs to play to keep them moving.
Most of the crowds are easy. That, like, once they hear you, you can see they.
Yeah, you can see. I mean, of course, sometimes you might drop a record and you see people stop dancing and you say, "Oh, I need to switch this record quick."
I better
Yeah. I got to switch this record quick. And sometimes it's a feel out thing, when you might go to a gig and expect a certain audience, and then it's different. So you just go on the fly and figure it out. That's what life is all about, right?
But one more question about the Citi Field thing. Sorry, I'm a little bit stuck on
okay.
that. Because of the size, you were there today. That's right. Because of the size of the video board, it looks to me like, and especially that 15 minutes before the game when you're playing, it looks like people are just so happy. And that must really feed it, because you could look up and there could be a 6-year-old girl dancing because you're rocking the
man.
house.
And especially days like opening day or when it's like the Subway Series, kind of like the big games, man. It's definitely thrilling.
How many games do you do a year?
It all depends. It all depends with Coca-Cola and everybody that I work with. So maybe, this season it might be like 15 games or so, 15, 20.
what's next? I mean, the Super Bowl,
yeah, like we said,
or do you have other projects or anything else in mind? Because what you are doing to me, we talk about all the great music in the Bronx, whether it be Latin jazz and hip hop and salsa, all the stuff that we have invented and all the music and all the different cultures. This is another music that is distinctly Bronx based, Bronx invented, and everything else.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah, everything, man. Gary, I want to do everything, man. I want to become an author, start putting out some music inspired books, things like that.
Wow.
I want to do a lot, man. Continue to grow the DJ Academy, obviously, to continue to grow my brand as a DJ across the globe, and just continue to inspire, man.
When you move around to other places like Las Vegas or another city or other places, do they understand that this comes from the BX?
Yeah. I shout it out a lot.
I wouldn't miss it, but I don't know about people in Nebraska.
Yeah. Nah, I shout it out a lot. People have a lot of respect for the Bronx, so it's cool.
And you are one of the people bringing it.
Man, thank you, man.
So,
thank you.
Listen, Cornell Yarborough, although DJ Whutever, thank you so much for joining us on the Bronx.
I like how you
Podcast.
say that, man. I might need a drop with you saying that to play on the
radio. Well, it'll be it's on tape or whatever, Anyway, listen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, man. Thank you. This was amazing. I appreciate the
and I know
invite.
You walked in and you looked at the artist and you said, wow, this is a cool place.
Yeah, it's a super cool spot. Hopefully I'll be back soon, man.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe one night you can have DJ night here.
Let's do it.
Do you do contests, by the way? Do you like, I don't know what they call them, mix-offs or something?
Sometimes. Yeah, just for fun.
But at this point, you want to just make the people dance. Yeah. All right, listen, thanks to everybody who participated in this program. Elliot Glick of The Artist. Monica Glick is the president of M4 Consulting Services, and she, of course, adds a lot to what we do. Technical director for our program is DJ Mike. Nice to have you with us. Jackie, nice to have you with us. DJ is the CEO and founder of Sounds and Sirens. Our editor is George Williams. The production assistant is Joshua Cruz. Love the Bronx, right?
BX all day.
All day and all night. And out in Las Vegas and at City Field and everywhere we go.
And one more time, congratulations to you, man. Congratulations to you, all right?
Yeah, we can all applaud. And we should mention, of course, that is where I met him. He was the DJ at the Bronx Ball.
I was the DJ for the Bronx Ball.
And I said, you know what? We ought to put that guy on our podcast.
Yes.
Anyway, peace and love. That's what we say in the BX. See you around town.